I hadn't meant to stare. Honestly, I was just tired. 3 straight days of diplomatic briefings, sleep rations that tasted like cardboard, and a brain so full of contradictory cultural guidelines it felt like it was about to The Zelari Alliance was humanity's newest potential partner, and everyone kept insisting we tread carefully. Very, very carefully. Especially around the Zelari themselves. They were humanoid. Yes, but in a way that felt almost unreal. They were too perfect. They moved with a grace that seemed to defy the very mechanics of bones and joints. Their eyes glowed faintly with bioluminescent pigments, and their skin shimmered like opal under the station's artificial lights. The briefing packet insisted they weren't seductive on purpose. Their appearance was simply a byproduct of evolution on a world where beauty literally meant survival. Still, standing next to one in person, it was overwhelming. Her name was Serena. She was the Zelari liaison assigned to walk me through the station's archives. She was tall, with silver skin that seemed to drink in the light, and hair like woven starlight. And there I was, Jamie, a human engineer with messy brown hair, a uniform that was probably more crumpled than regulation allowed, and circles under my eyes deep enough to store data crystals in. We walked side by side through the crystalline corridors, a strange pair. She would talk, and I would nod, trying to keep up. She'd gesture toward some architectural marvel, and I'd scribble notes, trying to look professional. But then I made my mistake. She stopped to examine a holographic display mapping a nearby nebula. The swirling purples and blues of the hologram reflected across her skin, shimmering in waves, like ripples of moonlight on a calm lake. It was mesmerizing, beautiful, in a way that nothing human could ever imitate. And I, exhausted, mentally drifting, my brain just completely offline, found myself staring. Not at her eyes, not even at her face. I was just staring, lost in the sheer aesthetics of the moment, the play of light and shadow on a form that was perfectly, mathematically beautiful. I was so lost in thought that I didn't notice when she turned her head slightly. She caught the angle of my gaze, and a slow, knowing, dangerously amused smile spread across her features. "So," she said softly, her voice a warm, silken whisper that curled around each word, "You like my body?" My brain didn't just freeze. It combusted on the spot. All systems crashed. Yes. I mean not. Yes, just observing cultural smooth. Very, very smooth. Jamie, Serena laughed. It wasn't a mean laugh. It was a melodic, shimmering chime that somehow made my spiraling embarrassment even worse. "You humans are adorable," she said, her smile widening. "So expressive, so wonderfully easy to read." She tilted her head, her starlight hair shifting with the movement. "And so honest, Ebenwenju, read desperately trying not to be." I felt my face heat up. I wasn't trying to look. I insisted, my voice probably a little too loud. "I was just thinking." "Of course you were," she said, shrugging with an elegance that was so effortless, it made me feel clumsy just standing there. I had to look away again. Zelari bodies are designed to be noticeable. That caught my attention. Designed, like genetically engineered. She smiled mischievously. "Evolutionarily engineered. On my homeworld, our distant ancestors survived by drawing the attention of predators away from the young in the nests. The more noticeable an individual was, the more likely they were to lead a threat astray. Over millennia, attractive features became a literal survival trait." She leaned a little closer, her faint glow seeming to intensify. "So I am not offended, human Jamie. You are reacting exactly as your biology, and mine, intended." "Great," I muttered under my breath. "I've been outsmarted by evolution." We continued walking, but the air between us had changed. The professional distance was gone, replaced by something else. She kept throwing little glances over her shoulder, her smile never quite fading, and each time our eyes met, I felt my ears grow hotter. If the diplomatic corps back home could see me now, they'd probably revoke my credentials and beam me back to Earth in a cargo container. We finally reached the Knowledge Spire. It was the heart of the Zelari Data Vault, a massive, towering column of luminescent crystal that hummed with the stored memories of countless generations. It was breathtaking. Serena stopped at its base and turned to face me fully. The teasing glint in her eyes was gone, replaced by something softer. "You truly find us beautiful?" she asked, her voice quieter this time. "Not just distracting. Primera visita." There was a sudden vulnerability in her question, something unexpected and fragile. It was like her confident, amused mask had slipped for just a moment, revealing a genuine curiosity underneath. It deserved an honest answer. "Yes," I said, my voice steady for the first time since my brain had rebooted. "You're beautiful, but you're also intimidating and confusing. And probably the primary reason why humans are going to be walking into walls all over this station for the next few weeks." She laughed again, but this time, the sound wasn't teasing. It was warm and genuine. "Then I am glad," she said. "Beauty without connection is meaningless. A hollow signal." She paused, her gaze thoughtful. "And humans." She reached out and touched my hand lightly. Her fingers were cool and smooth, like polished river stone. "Humans connect deeply." My heart did something complicated in my chest, a maneuver it definitely wasn't designed for. "You know," she continued, her voice dropping to a more confidential tone, "we were worried your species would fear us. Many do. They see our appearance as a form of manipulation, a biological threat, or a deception." Her glowing eyes softened even more. "But you simply stared, got completely flustered, and then tried to explain it away with science." "That's kind of what humans do when we're in over our heads," I admitted with a weak smile. "And it is charming." She stepped closer, close enough that the shimmering patterns on her skin reflected in my eyes. "Perhaps," she added, her voice a low murmur, "too charming." I swallowed, loudly. The sound echoed in the quiet hall of the spire. "So," she whispered, repeating her earlier words, but this time with a playful, inviting glint in her eyes. "You like my body?" My brain finally caught up. My mouth, however, decided to run a different program entirely. "I like you," I said, before I could stop myself. The glowing patterns along her arms and neck brightened in a sudden, brilliant flash of reaction I now recognized from the briefing files as the Zelari equivalent of a surprised, sharp intake of breath. Then, the light softened into a warm, steady glow of delight. "Good," she said, her smile radiant, "because I think I like you too, human Jamie." And just like that, interstellar diplomacy got a whole lot more complicated. But I had to admit, it also got a lot more interesting. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tailies from across the galaxy. See you next time.